Hello, hello. Guess I will start now. So very excited to be here. Also pretty nervous, pretty nerve-wracking, and it's my first time having this kind of mic, this sort of pop star mic. So I'm feeling the power, but also pretty nervous. So I'm wondering if you guys can all kind of like help me calm the nerves a little bit by doing something for me. I've always wanted to do a kind of a crowd wave. So starting from the first row to the very back, just doing a little like this. I think let's make this a little fun. So can we, on a count of three? 3, 2, 1. Woo! Okay, wow. Okay, that was fun. That was really fun. Now I can check that off my bucket list. Speaking of fun, on to my topic here. So my talk is called How to Bring More Fun in Our UI. But it's more like how and why we should kind of bring more fun into our UI. So, hello, my name is Bruce Louis, and I am a product designer at Trivago. I work primarily in the apps team. Recently did a whole complete redesign of our app, and I've also dabbled in some web work here and there. Unfortunately, this is a demo, so I only have 10 minutes, probably less than 10 minutes now that I did that crowd wave. So I'm gonna have to run things really quickly. And I probably won't be able to cover up a lot of this stuff on the hows and the whys, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to Slack me, come at me, and just have a conversation. Oh, I forgot to use this. Okay. So what I want to present is something that I worked on last year in our internal hackathon for our department. And this is sort of like an experiment. So what I did was, so what you're seeing here, there's these filter, what used to be our filter menu, and we had some icons here, these buttons that's in the top extra section over there. Currently, we don't have those anymore. We took those out. We replaced them with these kind of dry text bubble buttons that just has a text in a bubble. But I really miss these. I think they're really visually represented, and there's a lot of potential in these. So when you tap onto these, they just kind of like go white and blue. But I really want to kind of take this a step further and really explore on this, trying to make this more fun, hence the title. But as I show you guys this, I just want you all to know that this is a concept. It's not a usable feature. This was part of a hackathon project, so I was really having fun. So didn't keep so much in mind about the usability, the user experience behind this, but just try and focus more on the concept. So my goal was to try and use motion to really enhance the UX and UI and ultimately trying to engage the users. But most importantly, trying to use this to bring a sense of delightfulness, a very important metric to kind of measure the success of products. So enough words, let's do a demo. So here, this is a prototype. This is what you're seeing right now is the mobile website of Trivago. And when you kind of scroll down, you get prompted with a message here that asks you to try and choose an option from one of our most popular filter options. And since it's been kind of cold these days, I'm feeling like going to a beach. So I'll tap on the beach and then check out what happens here. So the beach icon kind of moves. It kind of comes alive. It kind of has a sort of like a playful feeling. The sun was kind of bouncing on the umbrella. It's kind of a bit different than a static button here. And now let's try and go to breakfast, for example. The cup kind of moves. It's kind of like you're taking a sip from the cup. It just kind of comes alive. Pets, the trail of paw prints, Wi-Fi. Has this sort of like a, I don't know, sci-fi kind of flow here. Pool I didn't do, so let's ignore pool. Oop, oop, oop. So at the hackathon, when I was showing this around, people were really interested in this. They were really engaged. If you kind of look at this video, as soon as one person kind of like got into it, they were trying to explore and try and tap other buttons. They were really curious how the other ones would look like, how they would animate. They continuously pressed on the pool because they really want to see how that pool looks like, but I wasn't able to deliver. But at the end of it, actually no, more like when they started interacting with these, they cracked a smile. And for a designer, that's a really fulfilling feeling. To just see someone enjoy interacting with what you've done. But most importantly, there was a sense of excitement. They were kind of thrilled. There's this sort of surprise. And so, the stuff that they say, like, oh, it's cute, it's fun, it's really playful, and all of this contributes to this to delightfulness. And ultimately, delightfulness contributes with retention. So, for example, we have two coffee shops side by side. The decor looks pretty similar. They sell the same product. They have the same coffee beans. What would make you want to come back to one of these in particular? And my answer is that, within any experience, within any product, or going to anywhere, there's a sort of like you remember some sort of moment that you really like. In which case, it would kind of like carve in the back of your memory, and you would kind of like think back that, oh wow, this is really cool. I would come back again. For example, last week I was at a coffee shop, and it was about closing time when I was working on these slides. The barista came up to me and was like, "Here, take this bag of bread. Sample it, or I will throw it away." And that really made me remember this. And yeah, if a barista offered a nice and welcoming gesture, I would remember that. And a button is no different. There's a lot of ways of incorporating this into our UX and UI, but I don't know how much time I have left. I think I have oh, no, okay. I can't go through all of them. So at least I want to show this kind of thing that I think of whenever I design buttons or interact with buttons, and it's sort of like this moment. There's on YouTube, there's a lot of these oddly satisfying videos, and it's these moments where you kind of feel like, oh, if you touch, if you press, if you chop, if you slap, or if you punch something, there's a sort of a satisfying, gratifying feeling to this. For example, these are some buttons that I really, really like. I mean, if you check this out, it kind of feels like a jelly bean. It's kind of soft, it's kind of slow, but it's really satisfying to touch them. This is a search input field, and if you kind of go into it, it kind of morphs. It's kind of playful. It's really letting the user know that what's going to happen, and it's just kind of it's kind of satisfying to interact with it. This is one of my earlier concepts that I was playing around with when I had some free time, where I was really exploring how do I incorporate brand within a certain UI element. And I think a couple months later, Google did something similar with their Google logo, and I was like, oh. but it was still fun. So I believe I'm running out of time, so I can't really show much. This is a really short demo. But what I really wanted to kind of get the point out is sort of the next time when you're designing a button, when you're developing a button, think of this sort of quote. So Japanese cleaning consultant Marie Kondo would say, "Does this spark joy?" And I would encourage this to try and think more about this. Does it give you a cute feeling? So thank you. And if you can give me a feedback, that'd be cool too.